for Gonzaga. Following their win over St. Mary's, they'll advance to tomorrow's championship. We'll start with a statement from Coach, then we'll take questions. For anyone who would like to ask a question, please use the raise hand function on Zoom. And when I unmute you, I'll let you know it's your turn. Please introduce yourself with your name and your organization. With that, we'll get started with a statement from Coach.
Hey, it was good night for us. Anytime you can beat St. Mary's third time in a season, they're so well coached and just such a tough out. I mean, we knew we were going to be in for a physical game. And one, probably where first option, second option wasn't going to be there. They force you into, to really go into your third and fourth options on a lot of things when you're on the offensive end. And but I was proud of us on the defensive side of the ball. I thought we played really, really good and made Kusi and Logan Johnson really work for their points. So it was a good job by the guys. And so now we advance to another championship game. So we're happy to move on.
Okay, with that, we'll take questions for Coach Few and Drew Timme. Let's go ahead and raise your hand. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Ferrato for the West Coast Conference. Mark, and it just seems like Drew continues to play at a really high level for you for quite a while now. Can you talk about the way he played tonight?
He's been great all year. I mean, he was great last year in this tournament too. So I don't think it's any surprise. He's great in practice usually. So, that's why he's a All-American candidate and up for Player of the Year. I mean, he's a heck of a player. I'm on his ass a lot. But I probably don't tell him enough how good he is. But some of us just have that lot in life and that role. So listen, he's a joy to coach, and I think he's getting better on the defensive end. I'm proud of him in that area, and there's still a lot more room for growth on the offensive end.
If I can ask a follow-up for Drew. So, Drew, does he actually ever tell you that you're doing a good job, or is he always on your butt?
I don't think I've heard that one time. No, I'm kidding. He tells me all the time, but he pushes me, and that's exactly why I came to this school. I want him to get the best version of myself that I can be, and he does a great job of pushing me, but also letting me know when I'm doing a good job. He definitely has the perfect balance and knows how to push my buttons, what makes me go, and very, very appreciative of all he's done for me.
Great. Thank you.
Isabel, go ahead.
Isabel Gonzalez, Mid-Major Madness. Hey, Coach, a lot of people say March is all about peaking at the right time, but you guys have had a really good level the entire season. How do you keep that going? How do you increase that when the national tournament comes around?
Yeah, I think, a lot of it is you just bank on these guys' competitive spirit. I think one thing they've shown all year in a really crazy, difficult year, as far as, coming out every night with energy and enthusiasm and effort when there's nobody in the stands and no juice. These guys have really showed how competitive they are. And I think as we move towards the NCAA tournament, they all know it was taken away from them last year, and it means the world to them. So I think we'll get even an increased effort moving forward. And then, these last week or so of practices, we've been able to kind of fine tune some things, and hopefully we'll get some, execution, baskets and points just from spending time on that.
Good. Brenna, go ahead.
Drew, Mark made mention of the fact that you've had some pretty good games in Vegas. Obviously, Killian Tilly also had some pretty good games in Vegas while he was a Zag. Do you kind of have that same feeling that he did while he was down in Vegas, where that's just a city where you used to have a lot of good performances for whatever reason?
I think it's just the flow of the game. That's the what's so great about this team and the style we play. It doesn't matter who scores. Anybody can score on any given night. I don't care. None of the guys on the team care who scores. All we care about is winning. And, starts at the top of coach, and the system, just making sure everyone gets involved, and it just sometimes it happens to be Killian's night or my night, or it really could be anybody. And we just love when we all succeed and win.
I'm not sure we need to encourage Drew to keep coming down to Vegas, though, just for the record.
Why is that?
I think we both know why.
Michelle, go ahead.
Michelle Dapper, KCRA TV in Sacramento. Hi, Mark, Drew. Question for you guys. We're doing a feature on West Coast teams have been pretty much hit the hardest with COVID restrictions throughout the country. In particular, what challenges you guys faced? What have you guys missed? And most of all, what have you guys learned about yourselves throughout this year?
Drew?
Yeah, it's definitely been a different season, but Coach has done a great job of just scheduling games. The biggest concern with every team is just having a chance to play, and we come here because we want to play the best competition, and Coach Field and the staff have done a great job of making sure we're able to play games against high competition, and even playing places where we can have fans, like getting to go back home to Texas, where I got to play in front of my family and friends, and just experience the crowd was amazing. But, we just the biggest challenge is keep staying focused ourselves, and we've done a good job of that, and Coach does a great job of holding us accountable, especially when you have the opportunity to give games, because just being able to play a game, especially in a time like this, is so precious.
Yeah, hey, listen, this has been an interesting year and difficult, just because of the protocols and requirements put on these guys. I'm really, really proud of them, as I said earlier, how they've handled it and how they've came out every game, and to be undefeated at this point of the season is a total credit to them. But at the same time, hey, I'm really, really frustrated. I'm disappointed in how all the western part of the states, or on this side of the country, have handled this. You watch other conference tournaments, and they have a lot of fans at it, and many games with fans at it. We were able to take Drew back home in December, and played in front of 5,000 or 6,000 fans, and that was great. Be able to play down in Florida at the start of the season with fans. So yeah, it's been disappointing here out west, and it's a shame that more fans haven't been able to see this team play, but that's just the way it is. But I am proud of how our guys have worked their way through it.
Thanks, Coach. Good to see you.
Yep.
Sam, go ahead.
Hey, Mark. Sam Gordon here, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Congrats on the win. Homecoming for Julian. Just wanted to get your perspective. From your perspective, how has he acclimated to the college game, and then, of course, his role on your team?
I mean, we're really, really high on Julian. I think he's going to be a really, really good player at Gonzaga. We're pushing him even at the end there in those timeouts, getting him to hunt his shot and looking to score and make plays. I think he's became a much, much better defender over the course of this year. He was really, really snake bit, by some COVID, and then got caught in some protocols, that just involved contact tracing and things like that. And then he had a tough injury. So he's been practicing really good. We're trying to get him into the crux of the games, but he's got a bright future.
Brenna, go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot to unraise my hand. It's I don't have another question.
All
Sorry
good.
about that.
All right. Jeff, you had another question?
Yes, I do. From Mark, this was your first sort of postseason game of the season. I'm wondering if you think Jalen Suggs even knows the difference. Is that stuff going to impact him at all, or is he just going to be just another game for him?
I mean, I would just say it's just another game. I don't think there's anything that Jalen's afraid of or worried about or anything like that. I mean, he's a high level competitor. I thought he played very, very well tonight, especially St. Mary's is hard to play against. They're in that lane all the time, and they're physical, and they really make you, like I said at my opening statement, get to that second or third level of reads with your ball screens, and they're physical around the rim. You got to take a hit and finish. And he did a lot of good things. He did a great job guarding Kusi tonight. And I think he's really shown his growth through this year, even though he started the year, straight out of the starting blocks, playing great. But I think he's really made a big jump, especially on the defensive end, but also kind of on making those second level and third level ball screen reads. So I don't think any moment is gonna, razzle him at all. So he'll be fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Drew.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow. Couple of quick notes from Gonzaga. That's 29 straight wins for Gonzaga, matches the program record. And this is the 24th straight appearance in the conference tournament championship game, the longest active streak of its kind in the nation. And in just a minute, we'll have St. Mary's. We'll have Coach Randy Bennett and Tommy Kuzi. Okay, we're now joined by Coach Randy Bennett and Tommy Kuzi. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach Bennett.
Well, we lost to a good team for the third time. They're good, and we're going to have an A game to play them close, and we didn't. We shot the ball bad, and so we just to beat them. You're not going to beat them 58-55. They're going to get 75 points on the board. So for us, which scoring's been an issue for us this year because We lost our two best shooters. We're going to have to find a way to get 70, 75 points if we want to hang in the game with them. And they're a bad matchup for us that way because they guard. And then, like I said, they're going to score. They're best offensive team in the country. And I haven't seen one that's really close. So we got to get better there. We'll see. Hopefully we get in this NIT and we'll practice this week and keep working on getting better as Dukas gets more healthy, we get better. So he's getting healthier. He's just not all the way back confidence wise. So anyhow, Gonzaga's good.
Okay, with that, we'll take questions. We'll start with Steve Kroner. Go ahead.
Randy, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Steve?
Doing okay. Hey, you just mentioned, I was going to ask you, if you get an NIT bid, you will accept it. There's no doubt in your mind, one way or the other.
No, 100%. We'd be excited to play in it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Randy, Jeff Ferrato for the West Coast Conference.
Hey, Jeff.
You've played against Mark's teams more than anybody, and you've played them 3 times this year, as you said. How does this team compare with some of the best teams they've had, do you think?
It's one of their best. It's one of their best. The team that went to the national championship was really good. I'd say that team had more depth, especially inside. And last year they're good. I mean, they're good inside. They had Timmy and Petrusev last year inside. So I think their guards are really good this year. Their depth has been better inside. I'm sure that's their concern, is they don't have a lot of fouls to give in there. But this is probably the best offensive team. I don't know how you could have one better. They shoot 55%. Usually 50, 51 leads the country. 55% is a ridiculous number. And they're really efficient offensive. That's where they're good. They're good in transition. Really good. That is the best they've been in transition. And as a team, and best offensive team they've had. They're not as big inside. They don't have as much rim protection. They're not as big on the boards. They're not quite as good as they've been defensively, but I would say Mark would know this much better, but I'd say it's one of his 3 best teams.
Thanks, Randy.
Any other questions? Jim, go ahead.
Randy, I was just going to ask about offensively. Were a lot of your looks pretty decent and just not able to get them to fall, or what do you think from that end?
We had decent looks from 3, but I'm sure that's their game plan as well. And I just felt like we had to play Kyle Bowen on Kispert for that matchup most of the time. And so it gives them a place to help off of right away. And then our guards didn't shoot it well. And some of our guards off the bench had some decent looks and they didn't hit them. So it just 2 for 20. It's a lot to overcome. And I think maybe we could overcome a 6 for 20, but it's just too hard. 2 for 20. I was proud of our guys that competed. They kept playing hard. But like I said originally, we just have to find a way to, against them, you're going to have to generate at least 70, 75 points. And you're not going to do that shooting 2 for 20 from 3.
Jeff, go ahead again.
Yeah, for Tommy. Tommy, when you go into playing against a team that can score like this and can hurt you in so many ways, do you almost feel like you have to play a virtually perfect game? And is that a lot to have on your shoulders?
Yeah, I wouldn't say you have to play a perfect game, but you definitely have to play well. And like Coach B said, you have to throw out an A game. And defensively, that's really what we prided ourselves on this year. And they're just a tough team to stop for 40 minutes. We've been able to do it in stretches, but we haven't been able to put a whole game together against them. And obviously, offensively, it's tough to score on them as well, especially shooting 2 for 20.
You've been competing against them for years. When they get into the NCAA tournament, Will you root for them?
Yeah, I think it's good for our conference, and they're a really good team. I think they have a chance to go far this year. So good luck to them.
Thanks, Tommy.
All right. Isabel, go ahead.
Isabel Gonzalez, Mid-Major Madness. Coach, this has been a very different year. How would you describe the season for your team specifically?
How do I what?
How would you describe this season for your team specifically?
That's a great question. It's been a tough year. Like, I feel for these kids. They're so I just feel for them. The things that they have to go through. It's really hard to describe. I mean, first of all, you don't know. There was so much unknown. We're all going through this as, everybody's dealing with this pandemic, but you don't know if you're going to have a season, and you don't know what the season is going to look like. And then you don't know. I mean, you get we had a 22 game pause, and you just don't, you've never dealt with all this stuff. I think it's good for these kids as a life lesson. I mean, life's not always easy, and it certainly hasn't been for this year. I'm very grateful for these kids and for us as coaches that we're able to have a season, albeit it's 2/3 of a season, but like we played 23 games and usually play like 35, but we'll take it. I'm appreciative that the NCAA and everybody involved in trying to make this happen made it happen. So you're happy there, but I just feel for these kids that, hey, I know they can come back, but this is a tough way to play. Like, even this tournament, you're here and it's like a scrimmage. There's no fans. It's not all about fans, but the fans do make it fun, and they make it fun for these kids. And then they got the stress of every time they take a test, one of these COVID tests, their team could be shut down. It's a lot of pressure. We went through it for a long time, never had it. And then we finally got it in late January, and bad time to get it. And so if you're in the locker room, if you're around them, you see how much pressure it is on them. And I think mentally it's been a challenge for all these kids. I'm sure high school too, and college kids, but that's my biggest takeaway. It's been a tough year. We're appreciative to have the opportunity, and for how so many people have stuck their neck out to make it happen, and some good leadership. Saying all that, these guys have had a tough last 12 months. I mean, we finished this thing last year here, played in the championship, and the next day it started shutting down. And for that year, it has been a lot of uncertainty, a different lifestyle. We haven't even been in restaurants up in Northern California. So it's just a lot of different things that make it tough. And I'm really proud of our guys and the other teams that made it work, and the officials and the coaches, and people have stuck their neck out and taken some risks to make this thing happen. So I'm glad of that. It's a great question. And I want to keep playing, but this is one of those years that you're like, all right, let's get the restart next year, get it back to normal.
Okay. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you.
Thank you.